a look, a putt, a mistake that changes a career. In the world of women's golf, not everything is precision and elegance. There are moments that divide fans, shake the foundations of the sport, and leave scars impossible to erase. Today, we won't talk about birdies or trophies. Today, we'll relive the most controversial decisions, the most debated penalties, and the moments when glory turned into disaster. This isn't just history. It's the dark side of women's golf. Year 2000. Loch Lomond Golf Course, Scotland. The Solheim Cup pits Europe against the United States. The tension isn't measured in strokes, it cuts through the air. Annika Sörenstam, Sweden's most dominant figure at the time, executes an impossible shot. A perfect chip, birdie guaranteed, applause erupts. Europe gains momentum. Everything seems to change. Until it doesn't. The U.S. captain raises her hand. But the decision is made, she must replay the shot. What follows is not just a technical error. It's an emotional collapse. The second attempt fails. The advantage disappears. The crowd falls silent. What should have been a masterpiece is buried under an unforgiving rule. The controversy explodes. Was it fair play or cold strategy? Respect for the rules or a victory without honor? Europe speaks of gamesmanship. The U.S. speaks of regulations. That day, not only was a hole lost, so was the fine line between competition and confrontation. Year 2017. The final round of the Anna Inspiration, one of the major tournaments in women's golf. Lexi Thompson leads confidently. Every shot is solid, every step steady, until the unthinkable happens. From a sofa, a viewer, watching the broadcast from home, spots an infraction no one on the course had noticed. An incorrect ball placement, committed the day before. She decides to send an email, and that message changes the destiny of the tournament. The officials review the play. They confirm the error. 4 penalty strokes, 2 for the infraction, 2 for signing an incorrect scorecard. The penalty hits Lexi when only 6 holes remain. From commanding leader, she suddenly falls behind. No warning, no defense, just a retroactive decision that shakes everything. She answers with birdies, she fights, battles her way back to the top, but the damage is done. The golf world erupts in debate. Can a spectator become a referee? Where does justice end and surveillance begin? Even Tiger Woods raises his voice. Fans shouldn't be the judges. That day, Lexi didn't lose alone. The entire sport lost a bit of certainty. Because in golf, sometimes the opponent isn't on the course. Thailand, 2019 season. On a perfectly manicured green, 2 players prepare to finish the hole. Amy Olson chips her shot. Her ball strikes Arya Jutanugarn's, which hadn't been lifted. The result: Olson's ball stops much closer to the hole. But what sparked the storm wasn't the shot, it was what came next. A smile and a gesture of complicity between the 2 players. A simple fist bump that set off alarms. Was it just coincidence? Or a covert tactic to gain an advantage? The term backstopping returns to the center of debate, allowing another player's ball to remain on the green, potentially helping to stop your own if it's hit too firmly. The rules allow penalties if there's prior agreement. But here, there was no proof. Just an image, a gesture, and the feeling that something didn't quite fit. Social media fills with accusations. The public demands answers. The players stand firm, denying any intent to break the rules. But in golf, sometimes you don't need to break a rule to break trust. That seemingly trivial scene opened a deeper wound. To what extent can we trust the spirit of the game? Year 2007. Once again, the Solheim Cup. But this time, the scandal doesn't come from a missed shot, it comes from a microphone that should never have been on. Dottie Pepper, former player turned commentator, is on air. She assumes the mic is off, and then says it. They're choking dogs under pressure. But the microphone is on. Everything is heard, live, unfiltered. The reaction is immediate. Social media, the press, the fans, everyone condemns the comment. Not for its harshness, but for where it came from someone who once wore the same colors. Betrayal hurts more than outside criticism. Dottie tries to explain. She apologizes, but the damage is done. Trust is fractured. And the episode makes one thing clear. In elite sports, words also compete, and they can also lose. That phrase, spoken in seconds, was engraved forever. Because in a world where every detail counts, a live microphone can be more lethal than a bad swing. Season 2017, the LPGA announces a new dress code. The intention, according to them, to reinforce the circuit's professional image. But the result was a media storm. No plunging necklines, leggings banned, skirts only of appropriate length. The restrictions targeted the body, not the game. Michel Vier, one of the most visible figures in modern golf, responds with indignation. It's not just about clothing, it's a red line. Are female athletes judged for their performance or their appearance? The controversy explodes. Players, coaches, and journalists question the decision. Why does a female golfer's body become subject to strict regulation, while male players face almost no similar rules? The debate goes beyond clothing. It's about equality, autonomy, and how women are treated in professional sports. The rules, imposed without prior consultation, seemed more fitting for a club from the last century than for an elite league in the 21st. Over time, some of the rules were softened. But the mark of that episode remains in history, because that year, the conflict wasn't about a bad swing. It was about who had the right to decide how an athlete should dress to compete. Year 2023, LPGA Tournament of Champions. Everything was supposed to be impeccable, until the players discovered where they were expected to prepare. The parking lot. No access to locker rooms. No professional space to change. Some did so beside cars, between suitcases and shopping carts. An image that doesn't fit the elite of world golf, and one that would never happen in any men's event. The outrage erupts online. It's not the first time it's happened, but this time it's the most visible and the most embarrassing. How is it possible that a top-level circuit offers such poor conditions in an official tournament? The golfers aren't asking for luxury, they're asking for respect. A locker room isn't a privilege, it's a basic necessity. What some see as a logistical detail becomes, for them, a symbol of persistent inequality. The images go viral. Public pressure forces organizers to issue explanations. But it's too late. The damage is done. Because when a champion has to change next to an open trunk, it's not about logistics, it's about how her presence in the sport is valued. Solheim Cup, 2021. The United States and Europe face off in a tense battle, shot by shot. On the 13th hole, the pressure reaches its peak. Nelly Korda lines up a putt. The ball rolls and stops on the lip of the hole. Madeleine Sackström, without hesitation, picks up the ball and hands it back. A common courtesy, a gesture seen thousands of times over decades. But the officials don't see courtesy, they see a violation. According to the rules, she should have waited 10 seconds to see if the ball would drop. She didn't. The ruling, the putt counts as hold. Eagle for Korda, hole 1 for the United States. Silence falls over the green. Sackström doesn't protest. But her face says it all. Disbelief, helplessness, frustration. Because in this sport, what matters isn't always the shot, but the exact moment it stops. The audience is divided. Was it the right decision? Or an absurd application of a rule meant for another context? Social media ignites. The spirit of the game once again is called into question. And as the match continues, one question lingers. How much can a second of anticipation cost? In this case, a crucial point and perhaps a piece of justice. Dana Open. Lydia Ko, one of the most respected golfers in the world, is in the middle of her round. Her play is solid, her focus surgical, but a misinterpretation of the course conditions unleashes disaster. Ko believes she can improve her lie, the position of her ball, in certain affected areas. She acts quickly, convinced that the local rule allows it. But it doesn't. On several holes, that action wasn't permitted. The result? 7 penalty strokes. It's not a swing error. It's a procedural one. And it's not minor. 7 strokes that drop her from the top of the leaderboard to the bottom of the standings. The crowd is stunned. Ko, known for her discipline and precision, falls victim to a technical rule. No one questions her integrity. But the punishment is brutal. Once again, golf proves it forgives not even the smallest misunderstanding. And here arises the dilemma. Are the rules meant to protect the game or to punish without mercy? In other sports, there are warnings. Here, there aren't. One wrong interpretation, and everything is lost. Lydia Ko didn't cheat, she made a mistake. But in golf, sometimes that's the same thing. U.S. Women's Open Championship. Jackie Pang, a Hawaiian golfer, has played 4 flawless days. With every shot, she's built her path to the top, and when it's over, the leaderboard confirms it. She's won by 1 stroke. The celebration begins. Photos, applause, a legitimate victory. But minutes later comes the cruelest blow. A review of her scorecard reveals an error on 1 hole. Her playing partner wrote down 1 stroke too few. Pung didn't notice. She signed, and with that signature, she was disqualified. The total score was correct, but the incorrect figure on a single hole was enough to take the title away. Not because of her play, not because of misconduct, just because of a number. The champion was out. The trophy went to someone else. The news shocked the golfing world. Moved by her story, spectators raised more money for Jackie than she would have earned as champion. It was a gesture of support, but not a remedy. That day made one thing clear. In golf, a victory can be real and still not count. Women's golf has witnessed glory, talent, and evolution, but also controversies that left lasting scars. They are decisions that changed careers, altered legacies, and shaped history. And as the sport moves forward, each of these stories reminds us of something essential. In a game of precision, sometimes the greatest impact doesn't come from a shot, but from a decision. Thank you for joining us on this journey through some of the most controversial moments in women's golf. If you've made it this far, it's because these stories matter to you as much as the sport itself. Golf is technique, it's precision, but it's also emotion, human decisions, and moments that transcend the score. If you found this content valuable, consider subscribing so you don't miss future analyses like this one. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Which of these cases do you think changed the history of golf forever? See you in the next video.